I'll never forget, I put this tent up in the valley in Texas. We're going down there in November again, Rio Grande Valley. And I'll never forget the first night the mayor came out. Oh, Lord, the mayor's coming to my meeting. And I went back at stage and shook hands with him. I said, glad you're here. Go on out there and greet the folks. He said, I'm here on official business. I ain't shaking your hand. I said, where's the key to the city? He said, I got the key to the jail. I said, oh, Lord. I said, I just got here. He says, you're going to take this tent down. I said, I just put it up. We're going to be here 17 days. He said, I come out here to tell you I don't believe in what you're doing. Oh, I said, now I see why God sent me here. I said, that's why I'm here, to make a believer out of you. He says, you're taking the tent down. I said, no, sir. He said, this is my city. I said, there's where you're wrong, mister. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. And I'm here under direct orders of God, and I'm going to have revival here. He said, if you persist in doing this, I'll have to arrest you. I said, you do what you got to do, and I'll do what I got to do. Turned around and walked out. I felt so bad. I wanted the key to the city. Now the crowd, we didn't have a big crowd at all. Just in this section. Never been there before. Why in the world would God send me down there? Because he had somebody to get saved down there, Bert. Much people in that area. No sooner when I walked off that platform, 2 policemen asked me. They stopped me. Are you Reverend R.W. Schambach? Yes, sir, that's me. You're under arrest. I said, what's the charge? Preaching the gospel with a loudspeaker. Oh, I said, my God, I'm guilty. Got a loudspeaker, and thank God he said it was preaching the gospel. Now, a lot of preachers would have been found innocent, but at least they said I was preaching the gospel. That kind of made me feel good, so I shouted a little bit on that. Took me down, a judge was waiting on me. She said, a woman judge. I said, oh, my goose is cooked. She said, how do you plead? I said, I plead guilty, Your Honor. She said, the fine's $52.50. Oh, I said, that's cheap enough. I paid it all in nickels. That's all they had down there, and they were Mexicans coming over, you know. I paid, oh, I've never seen so many nickels in all my life. I paid it cash, and they're taking pictures of me, and I'm wondering, why do I have to go through this humility of being arrested? I didn't know it until the next day. Had my picture on the front page. Eyewitness News, they gave me 8 minutes. Only had about 500 people opening night. The next night, the tent was full, and they were standing on the outside, coming to see the crazy preacher. Woo! Are you listening to me? All things work together for good to them that love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose. Hear me, preacher. I stood up and gave an altar call, and 1,000 people come to get saved. Woo! I said, devil ain't got no sense. Lord, let him arrest me again. So guess who was waiting on me? 2 more policemen. Are you R.W. Schambach? Yes, sir. Let's go, man. Let's go. Got in that cab of his. I said, what's the charge tonight? Same thing. Preaching the gospel with a loudspeaker. I said, let's get this thing on the road, man. I got down there. The judge said, how do you plead? I said, guilty. Yes, sir. I mean, yes, ma'am. Guilty. She said, the fine's $102.50. Ooh. I said, you believe in a double portion too? Got some more nickels for you here, girl. Front page again. Eyewitness News, 12 minutes now. Never had so much publicity. I got about $250,000 of publicity, and it didn't cost me a dime because my Father has everything under control. My God, I gave another altar call, and 1,000 more people come to get saved. Are you listening to me? Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Rested me the 3rd night. Now Eyewitness News was Schambach News now. I had it all. The whole front page. Everybody in that valley knew I was there. The 4th night, something happened. I got in the car, and I saw this blue light flashing. Before I got to the tent, instead of stopping, I floored it. Now, I don't recommend that, especially on radio. But I recognized the dude. He's one arrested me the last 3 nights. And I said, what's he trying to get me before church? And I said, if I can just make the tent grounds, I got sanctuary. But I found out what a two-way radio was. Because they had the exit blocked, and I had to come to a stop. And he come up my car, and he said, are you Reverend R.W. Schambach? I said, you've been arresting me for 3 nights and still don't know who I am, man. And he had a whole stack of warrants. I said, looks like I got company tonight. He said, they're all yours tonight, preach. I said, what's the charge? Preaching the gospel of the loudspeaker. Took me into the judge. I said, I ain't never heard of this in my life. I ain't preached. I ain't got no microphone in my car. She said, we're going to arrest you tonight before you do it. I said, that's like arresting a man for murder before he commits the thing. I said, I don't believe this. She says, your fine tonight is $7,680. She says, you don't have that many nickels. You ain't going to preach tonight. I said, pardon me, ma'am. If I don't preach under that tent, I'm going to preach in jail. But I'm going to preach somewhere. God called me to preach. And I'm going to preach. My son come over and he said, Dad, the biggest crowd we ever had under that tent, they're waiting for you. I said, get them pastors over here. They come over and I said, you want me to preach? You better over there and get an offering. And tell them to keep their nickels at home. This is big money. One of those men wrote a check for the whole amount, and that judge said, no check. I want cash. Why, he said, Your Honor, I'm your neighbor. I live next. She says, I ain't arresting you. I'm arresting that man. He's not preaching under that tent. They went back and took an offering in 20 minutes, laid the cash in front of that judge. I got out of there in 20 minutes, and we had church till 1:30 in the morning. Hallelujah! Listen. Lester Roloff is a Baptist. He heard about my plight, and you know what he did? That Baptist preacher came to the rescue of this Pentecostal preacher. He sent me his attorneys and said, go on down there and help that preacher. And I'll tell you, they got an injunction against the whole city. I didn't know what an injunction was. I thought a junction was 65 crossing 20. I didn't know what it was, but they forbid the city to come under that tent, that no police were allowed in there, no mayor, no judge, no anybody. They said, you cannot stop that man from preaching. Let him finish the service. And I went back and fought it out in court for 2 days, and the judge said to the mayor, you've arrested this preacher falsely for 4 days. You took $10,000 from him that don't belong to you. I order you to give it back and change the law on your book. This is still America. He can preach the gospel with a loudspeaker anywhere he goes. My God, I want you to know all things work together for good to them that love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose. Hallelujah.